cancer kills 700,000 Africans every year. This is a report that has been brought by the World Health Organization. Good morning and welcome to the Dailies. I'm Sarah Elisha and Rachel Tanza is my co-host. Thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this with me. How was your weekend?
Just fine. How was yours?
Fine, thank you. You know, I had to start with the cancer because every 4th of February every year has been designed as a day to actually raise the awareness concerning cancer. And I felt it would be important that even though we celebrated that day on a weekend, which was on Saturday, but I think it's important that we bring to the limelight to Nigerians to know that if we're saying that about 700,000 Africans are dying of cancer every year, then just take from that 700,000 how many Nigerians die every day or every year to cancer. And we know that they will have various types of cancer, but then I just hope that even though in October we normally raise awareness for breast cancer and it's light, but I hope that this will serve as a reminder to Nigerians what we need to do, what we need to eat, and then in the midst of all this scarcity of cashless policy, in the midst of naira is not available, in the midst of dollar is coming down because there's no even naira whatsoever. But then it's important that we take our health seriously at a time like this. Let's watch what we eat, let's watch what we do, let's not be exposed to the radiation very well because it exposes our system to all of this. So these are some of the awareness we need to be telling ourselves once in a while, even though I don't know if there was any awareness, because I didn't see that in Plateau State on that Saturday. This is things that we're supposed to be seeing various bodies, medical bodies and NGOs raising this awareness for cancer so that people can be proactive and how they can protect themselves from all of this illness.
Yeah, I was passing by and then I saw a poster that says that it was talking about, I think was it the cancer of the stomach, was it the pancreas or something like that, and I realized that there are so many different types of cancer that, however, in as much as the breast cancer is one of which that when it comes for its day, there's a lot of awareness about it, but there are many. There's colon, there's throat, there's blood, there's skin,
cervical cancer,
cervical cancer. There are different types of cancers, and then you can't just loud it enough. Like, there just has to be, whenever any day comes, it should be made big, because there was once a time we had this mentality that some kind of sicknesses or diseases were not in Nigeria. We always hear it on TV. We think it's just something in the West, in Europe and all of that, but now we are having reports that is showing thousands of people are going because of cancer. And I believe it's always about lifestyle, your lifestyle choices, just as you said, what you eat, and then check up in the hospital. Early detection always saves cancer. Like, people who have survived was always as a result of early detection, and something could be done before it spread and ate other parts of the body. So it's all about early detection. People need to know that that's one of the number one way to save yourself from cancer, apart from having a healthy lifestyle and what you eat and all of that, is checking it, because early detection is one of the best ways. People who have survived it is always about early detection. So go get yourself checked for every kind of thing. I know healthcare is not cheap as it is now in the country. Real quality healthcare is not cheap, but don't joke with it when you can. Just make it a duty to go and check yourself, most especially when you feel any abnormality that you cannot explain. Just early detection saves when it comes to cancer.
Of course, Rachel, thank you so much for that awareness too. And let's remember, we're live on Facebook and also on YouTube, so you can follow us on Echo Television, both on Facebook and YouTube, and other of our handles, and you can drop your contribution in any story that is of interest to you this morning. Let's quickly run through the papers, and I'll be starting with the Daily Sun newspaper. Anxiety in APC over Tinubu's Cold War with Buhari, and the writer following the story. He will win despite Gavitz's attack on president. That is coming from the party campaign committee. You can read more of that on page 7. Naira redesign senseless, says Oshombole. You can read also more on page 27. The big story, tension heightened over new Naira notes, fuel scarcity. Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, Port Harcourt was hit. Nigerians' grown businesses count losses. Military, police, security agency on red alert. You can read more of that story on page 2 and 6. Auto Easy backs federal government, CBN on Naira redesign cashless policy. And we have PDP will ensure Southeast inclusion coming from Okowa, accuses APC of promoting disunity and distrust. And on the census for this year, we have that the MPC reassures on conduct of credible and acceptable headcount. You can read more of that on page 6. PDP condemns Atiku for standing for Nigerians, alleges APC Tinubu mopping up cash for vote buying. More of that can be found on page 8. And we have scarcity to worsen as Ipman wants members not to buy petrol above 195 naira per litre. Downside of the paper, beware of plots to derail electoral process, Northern elders tell Buhari. And we have from the CEO, we have where he says foundational conditions responsible for poverty in Nigeria. So if you want to know what are those foundational conditions, do well to flip through page 20 of the Daily Sun and you read more of that. We have a picture story where we can see the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mamu Yakubu, assisting in checking names of electorates during mock accreditation of Area 10 Center, Abuja, at the weekend. So you can do more by grabbing the Daily Sun and read more of any story that's of interest to you.
On the Daily Independent, again, new poll sees Peter Obi as popular choice for president. And on Naira redesign, PDP accuses Tinubu, APC of mopping up cash for vote buy-in. And the big story, don't adjust 2023 election timetable, Buhari tells INEC. Serap drags Lawan Bajabiamila to court over 228.1 billion naira National Assembly budget, and you can read that on page 29. NBF blasts Governor Sule Sanusi over killing of 37 herdsmen in Nasarawa. The writer says charges federal government to set up probe panel on alleged killing. PSC appoints 3 DIGs, suspends promotion of 8 CPs and 11 DCPs. Army barracks converted to collation center in 2019 poll coming from Wiki, and you can read that on page 6. Still on the Daily Independent, there's plot to rig 2023 presidential election. This is coming from Yakasa, and if you want to know what he is saying about that, you can turn to page 27 of the Daily Independent. And at the downside of the paper, Euro-bound cocaine, heroin, and meth consignment seized at Lagos Airport. And you can read that on page 6. And that's all the news on Daily Independent.
You know, Richard, I'd like us to take a little bit look at this Middlebelt Forum blast Governor Sule and Sanusi over the killing of the 34 herdsmen in Nasarawa. This story has been on our paper, I think, not just last week, I think even from last 2 weeks or so, when we had that bomb blast that, you know, took the lives of over 37 herders. And according to the governor of Nasarawa State, he said they were actually on their way coming back from Benue, because we know that the Benue government is against open grazing, and so some of the cattle were seized, and then they were definitely, you know, you have to pay do some procedures to actually get your cattle back, and they got them back, and on their way coming back just by the border, there was a bomb blast. And from the side of the, Nasarawa State government, he's still trying to check what really was the cause. And then he, according to him, in an interview, he said he called the governor of Benue State, and the governor of Benue said he's not aware of that. And just last week on Friday, we saw the governor of Benue accusing, or possibly because it's still an allegation, so we're still hoping to see more interrogation being done about that. He wrote a letter saying that his life is at stake, and whatever happened to him, he is going to, they should hold the former emir of Kano, that Sanusi, about for his death, if anything should happen to him, because he felt that because he's against open grazing, a lot of attacks were on him. And now we can see the Middle Belt are actually blasting the governor of Nasarawa State for the killing. Now, I do not want all of this to happen. I know it's a time where we're having uncertainty. People are looking for, I think, pushing of blame. But regardless of who they are Nigerians. So I hope that this story will not just come and flash on our papers and go, but that this security agency will dig deeper. Let us know
Sure.
who are behind this bomb blast, because at the end of the day, these are the little things. Hate speech start coming, and before you realize it, this can instigate a war, crisis, or anything. And this is not the time where we need war to be coming from any part of the country, regardless of where it is, because we are all Nasara is in the middle belt, Benue is in the middle belt. So I do not know why we want to, kind of instigate war within ourselves. So I hope that these leaders will come together regardless of what personal grievances they have. Let's come together and say, what can we do? Let's provide a solution. Put our differences aside, regardless of our religion, our tribe, ethnicity. Let's come together and say, what can we do to be able to provide a solution, and that the people that are behind this blast, let us make sure that they face the full wrath of the law at the end of the day. I think when we start taking matters seriously like this, we see there is a change in the narrative of things. Nobody will be accused falsely or will not be hearing hate speech. Speech is coming left, right, and center.
You wonder, were they coming, if they were coming in vehicles, if they were coming on their foot. I think over the years, what has made investigation and work really difficult for everybody in Nigeria is that we've refused to improve how we collect data and then how we store information. Automatically, if there's something like this, there should be enough data for us to already know who these people exactly are, where they are coming from, where they are going to, what took them to Benue, what is taking them to Nasarawa State. As it is, there's no even such information about these people, and you wonder, I put myself, if I was to be a law enforcement agent, could I want to believe it should be a registered vehicle? Who is that? Who does that car belong to? Things were like burnt or blasted beyond recognition. There should be some kind of information that traces this vehicle to who owns it in the first place, and then having an idea what took on in this country. However, it is what we can do. I keep saying is we've just neglected a lot of things over time, and we've just been comfortable being where we are. We've been comfortable being a developing country rather than being developed as it is now. So I just hope that investigation is being done, and this back and forth of pointing hands here and there will stop. How did the bomb come about? Was it sent? Was it an airstrike? Was it in the vehicle? Because that should also, like, there should be an investigation that says where the bomb came from. Was it in their vehicle, or did somebody come and meet them with it? These are some of the little details that should be known, and like it should be out there, like, so that there would no longer be all these, is Governor Autumn today, is Sanusi tomorrow, or is the governor of Nasarawa State. All of this is unnecessary. If only we take information, storing it, keeping it, details of things in check, if we take it seriously as a country. So I just hope that the people responsible for doing this investigation do their job well, and then let's see where we can improve on these kinds of investigations.
Of course, Rachel. Well, let's go to the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. Interim government illegal parties won the federal government. You can read more of that on page 8. We have telecom subscribers sue government over tax, and on extension, INEC silent as PVC collection ends, which was yesterday. So you can read more of that story on page 25. And we have the big story here: Buhari under pressure to end fuel and naira disaster. The Ride of Linda story: governors in talk with presidency. Emifele as reps more emergency session. President must intervene, crisis affecting turnout at rallies. This is coming from the senators and the reps. As the fuel and currency scarcity slowly paralyze socio-economic activities across the country, the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, has come under pressure to find a solution to the crisis which have subjected Nigerians to untold hardship. Nigerians, including senators, governors, and youth on social media, are insisting that the president must immediately resolve the new naira note crisis, which sparked violent riot in Edo, Oyo states last week. The All Progressive Congress governors had on Friday met the president with a view to pressurize him to end the new naira note crisis. On Sunday, Kude Somore, the chief press secretary to Ogun State Governor Dapon Abiodun, in an interview with one of our correspondents, which is Punch, said his boss and other APC governors were in serious talks with the president and the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, over the new naira notes. And I hope that with a few days left to the end, which is on Friday, which happens to be the end, that more will be done, because truly it's very hard on Nigerians. It's really, really tough. But just like the finance minister said last week, that all of this pain we are going through will pay off at the end of the day. And I truly look forward to seeing it being paying off, because if not for the lack of the currency we have in Naira note, of course we'll not hear that the dollar has actually gone down, even though I know that basically it was a black market that makes all of this. But then regardless of all of this, I just hope, I truly hope, because you need to see videos on social media, Rachel, about people that are finding life very difficult as a result of not having, having access to this new Naira note. I was a victim. I know what I went through on Saturday. But regardless of what this is, I just hope that at the end of the day, what we are hoping to achieve, we will achieve, which means that at the end of the day, we are looking at corruption, taking it down, talking about vote buying. We are looking at, paying of ransom, especially coming from bandits and all of that. So I just hope that all of this pain, with all the pressure on the president, of course, he should try his best to see. We can see that the House of Reps are hoping to have another session again on all of this. But regardless of what the outcome will be, we just hope that we should be a little bit patient with all of this. And if there's any way the banks, CBN, CEOs of the various banks can also do something to make sure that all their ATMs are dispensing enough cashes in the ATM, because it will be frustrating being on that queue. Because I remember on that Saturday, I met a woman that was breastfeeding. I said she has been on that ATM, I think from 3 a.m. So imagine leaving a newborn child at home, hoping that you get cash, and there was no cash in the ATM. So I think some banks had to, the notes were being put in the ATM. Some banks around 11 a.m., 12 a.m. So you could imagine. So I just hope that the Naira should be, given to us, or most of these banks earlier. So imagine if the ATMs are dispensed as early as 7, 8. I mean, the queues will reduce to a large extent. So I hope that all of this will be put in place. Still on the Punch newspaper, we have a picture story here where we can see overcrowded Abuja schools where pupils learn on bare floor. And this is really a very, very sad story, Rachel. If you actually, because I remember we celebrated World Education Day last month, which was January. And we're not just looking at quality education alone, but we're looking at the atmosphere that the students learn. These are primary school students, if I am not mistaken. So you could imagine passing through all of this difficulty. You're not even mentally sound. The environment is not there. The teacher, you could just see the teacher by a corner over there. And some of these teachers will even be frustrated at a point in time. So I don't know what the Minister of Education is doing, because this is in Abuja. So I just hope, but this is just one out of other, states in the nation. So I don't know what the Minister of Education is doing, the commissioners of education, the various states. I don't know what they're doing about it. But truly, just like we said, when we look at the budget for 2023, I hope that education is given priority at the end of the day. Not just that a huge sum amount of money is given in that sector, and at the end of the day, we have nothing to write home about at the end of the day. But I hope something will be done about it.
Of course, and just as you said, it's really sad and heartbreaking, because this is the Federal Capital Territory we are talking about. And if still something like this can be found there, imagine other states. The teacher is not comfortable, neither are the student. This environment, as you see, already says that learning doesn't take place there. It is a school, but learning is not taking place here, because there's no how, there's no way whatsoever, there's no magic that can happen for learning to take place in this kind of situation. So already this school is a failed system, as it shows there, because learning can't take place in an environment like this. There'll be the few that are just naturally talented and intelligent that will assimilate, like comprehend whatever is being done quickly. But the majority that are just average students who need more will definitely not learn. So we just pray and hope that something is being done about education in Nigeria, because whether we like it or not, it is the bedrock of development. It is the foundation for development. This is where we will give birth to scientists. This is where we will give birth to genius. This is where we will give birth to whoever will develop a world-changing technology in the nearest future. This is where everything is giving birth to. So where there is no learning, it means we're killing whatever talent that could possibly come out of the country. So I pray and hope that education is being taken as a priority in this country.
Of course. And the last story on the Punch, which is from the human angle, FBI police hunt killers of Nigerian pastor's wife. You can find that story on page 5, and that's all on the Punch newspaper.
On First News newspaper, police arrest 10 Yoruba Nation agitators in Lagos. Bullion Vance shouldn't determine election results coming from Atiku. And still on Naira, conducting credible elections, not CBN's responsibility, coming from Ashemule. And the big, we are watching, monitoring very closely. I will have signed Emefiele's arrest after comment. And still on 2023 polls, bills for PDPs, ignore them. And still on 2023 poll, Sen Inamani begins word-to-word campaign. And that's all the news on First News newspaper.
You know, that story on the First News really got me laughing during the weekend, Rachel. Talking about the exchange between Kenyamu and Dogara.
Yes.
And it's really sad when you see able men that are supposed to be ambassadors, models for Nigerian youths, and you see them exchanging words all in the bid, because we are in a political era, election is by the corner, and then you see words flying left, right, and center. I remember we spoke about this issue of words, you know, especially when it comes from various candidates of party. And of course, we know that Kenyamu belongs to the APC, meanwhile Dogara is from the People's Democratic Party. And when you see them coming and then talking about, they were tweet left, right, and center, because that was the best way they could attack each other and all of that. And then still, the reason why I brought that is because this story just came right after the reply coming from Peter Obi to El-Rufai, because I listened clearly to the interview by the governor of Kaduna State when he said Peter Obi is a Nollywood actor, so he should just stay in Anambra. There is a different thing. He cannot get votes in the north and all of that thing. And I just hope that rather than throwing one left and center. I remember our callers last week were firing about the Kaduna State governor. Lots of people have brought out to the limelight about killings in Kaduna. What has he done about that? There are a lot of things you get to attend in your state, and then you are beginning to, you know, bring some one or two words about attacking people. But I hope that rather than attacking, why don't you go back, sit back, and, you know, analyze your character, analyze your regime. What have I done all this while I was either the speaker, because Dogara was once a speaker? What did you do during that time? Kenyamu, what have you done? You know, all of these things, I'm hoping that you sit back rather than throwing words that I'm waiting for when you reach up to my level in politics, being a lawmaker and all of that. That was coming from Dogara and all of that. So I just hope that rather than all this words flying, because I actually find it funny, maybe in a way to relieve me from the tension of the scarcity of Naira note and fuel and all of that. But I hope that to somebody else, he might decide to take side. And just like I said, in the same vein when the Middle Belt were accusing the Nasarawa State governor, it's the same like that. We should be careful of our words. You might feel you're just saying it or it's just a way of attacking, but I always feel that we should take away our personal problems away from the face of Nigeria. If I have a problem with you, Rachel, it doesn't have to make it to the papers at the end of the day. Let us settle whatever differences we have. We have a lot on our table right now. I remember some people were even complaining during the weekend in Lagos, they were in the midst of all of this, they are having a marathon race. And people are like, seriously, at a time like this, is this what Lagos State is concerned about? People are stranded, there is no fuel and all of that. So I just hope that we sit back and say, okay, as a nation, what can we do? What is our priority, topmost priority right now as a nation? Make the Naira available, reduce the price of the fuel, make it available to Nigeria. Let it be light. Let anybody owning even a small business can be able to say, yes, I have made profit from my little business. Not that we've just recording loss and loss and loss and loss at the end of the day. So I hope with all of the stories that are flying on our papers, we'll look inwardly, because we have just few days to the general election. So that is where Nigerians will truly pick a side who they want to rule them.
From them, we don't care about how good you can talk back to one another or what you have against each other. We just want you to change Nigeria. Do your job, because you've been put in a position to be able to do that. So just change Nigeria.
At this moment, we'd love to hear what your inputs are concerning all of the story, the pressure coming from the reps on, you know, the CBN making the Naira available, and also Idman have said we shouldn't buy the fuel above 195 Naira per litre. These and many other stories are what we've been seeing on the paper. So we really appreciate it if you drop your comment on our Facebook or YouTube pages, and when we come back from the break, then we'll take your calls. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still the Dailies on Echo Television International. We're looking at various stories that have been on our papers. The fact that the reps are hoping to have another session before February 25th to deliberate on this scarcity of new naira note, and then we still have Ipman saying that the public shouldn't buy fuel above 195 naira per liter, and these and many other stories is flying on our papers this morning. So we'd love to have your inputs on the stories, what you feel about it, solution, recommendation, and how this country can be a better place. Our phone numbers are displayed on your screen, so you can do well, dial that number, call us. Remember, please, to turn down the volume of your TV set when you call us, or totally move away from it so that we can have a very good and a clear communication here in the studio. I still have Rachel here with me. Thank you so much,
You're
Rachel,
welcome.
for staying tuned. All right, let's take another paper, which is this day newspaper. We have an editorial that said interim government. Already have a caller. Good morning from Abuja. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Richard and Co.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now, I want to react to the issues of El Rufai again, giving Nigerian statistics of where he believes Peter Obi will win and where he will not win. Now, let us go back to El Rufai's initial statement at the beginning of this campaign. He said any Peter Obi's rally in Kaduna will not be more than 200 persons, most of whom will have to even be shipped in from the southeast. He has been proved wrong. Many rallies that have taken place in Kaduna for the Labour Party has been overwhelming. Now you wonder, why is Peter Obi on the heat, or rather El Rufai? Why is he so worried? Why is he really now data? Is he the INEC? How many opinions has he conducted to be able to show that from what I have seen? He said that one local government in Kaduna will swallow the entire vote of Anambra State. Now, is it only Anambra State that is going to vote Peter Obi? Again, he contradicted himself when he said that from all he has analysis, Peter Obi is going to win 16 states out of the 36. So how do you now compare that to you now say only Kaduna State? I mean Anambra State. Then you also have Oshomole now criticizing everything. If you look at the whole of the scenario, it is the APC that is attacking everybody and anybody. The APC should be selling its own manifesto. Campaigning is like trying to sell your product. You begin to tell your would-be buyer the importance of those products. You should not be wasting your time telling others how bad is their own product. You think you can woo me to buy your product by attacking others? Just tell me what is the efficacy of your own product. So in this election, the APC are now jittery. They are occupying everything. There are a lot of infighting among them. And they see who to be able to drag along. El Rufai should be able to go and face his own battle. He has accused everybody, including the Kaba in the presidency, of which is one. So El Rufai should just let us be so that Nigeria can move forward. On the Benue and the Nasarawa issues, we have leaders who only react to certain victims. They are the divisive tendency of our society. We should be able to build a society where the pain of one man should be the pain of all. If one person or two persons is we should be able to condemn, we should show human empathy and not always taking sides for the sake of our voters. We need a new Nigeria with a leader that can be able to have empathy for everybody. Thank you, and do have a morning discussion.
Thank you so much, sir. You know, looking at, he made some key points here. And I think it's very important that we all do that, you know, just like he said that manifestos is just like, you know, you're trying to advertise your product. So rather than talking ill about another product, why don't you tell me the importance, and also the fact that, just like we said here, rather than us having this governors or leaders of these various states talking against one another, let's come together. Have anybody, you know, sat down to actually think, how about the families of those people that were killed? How are they facing all of this? Let's not use it like a sort of politics and trying to do one or two things. So I hope that we learn our lessons from all of this. Well, let's continue with this day newspaper. We have an editorial. All right, I think another caller from Abuja. Good morning. Sorry, what's your name?
Yeah, okay. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I came into your newspaper review a bit. Uh, I came into your newspaper review a bit late, but it was interesting. I want to comment following the last caller to
Okay.
comment on Aerofy. You see, I don't want to join issue with him because of Obi, but I would say that we have come of age as a nation that we can no longer be confused. People like him in government has actually added to the pain of Nigerian nation, as it were, and we have decided not to be distracted this time around. From him, he said some months back, that it's just 4 people in a room tweeting on social media, and Obidati group has grown, or the Labour Party has grown from that 4 people in a room tweeting to a national movement. And just like the last caller said, I will add my voice, they are G-trained. Right now, they know they are losing their relevance. Politicians don't actually come out for the national interest. They come for their personal interest. And they know that with the Labour Party, they will lose value. They will lose, the national value. And we know that with Obi, Nigeria is going to higher heights. We know it. We all know it, including you in the studio. You all know it. That we are, channeling a call for a new Nigeria. And that is what it is. If you check Labour Party, they don't call names like BDP and APC is doing. But let me re-emphasize. Nigeria voted for umbrella. It leaked, and poverty came in. Sickness, Boko Haram, name it, all came in. They voted for broom. They swept everyone into pain or to hardship. Look at what we are right now. Nigeria, you are using currency, Nigeria money to buy Nigeria money. I have never heard it globally. Everything is so surprising that in a country, using the country money to buy Nigeria currency is that bad. And then somebody is still coming say, look at Kaduna. When he was sampling his style of government in Kaduna, he has supporters, he has admirers. Today, Kaduna that used to be a hub in the northern Nigeria, today it's a no-go area. It's a death trap everywhere. Government is not working. I don't even know who is listening to him. Really, it's irrelevant. It's in Kesima, so long as I'm concerned. For Dogara and what is it called? This Minister for Labour. I just feel 2 of them should just hide their face. They should hide their face. For somebody who was once number 4 to come and begin to, I don't understand. Just like I said earlier on, politicians of today, they are all fighting for their interest, not national interest. But we will change the narrative. We will retire a whole lot of them. A whole lot of them will go to retire, will be retired, and will never come to the national peak again. So it is. And by the grace of God, it shall stand. So let everyone who has his own voter's card, go and dot it up, because we will retire all this cabal, from those in the presidency down to those in the state house, to the state house, to the state government, from the state government to those yearning and jeering up and warming up after they have ruined the economy of the nation. They are warming up again to become first citizen of the nation. We will retire all of them. Great Nigerian youth, this is our time, this is our opportunity, and we must not rest until we achieve our aims. Not violently, but with the power of our DVC, we will achieve it. God bless you. Have a wonderful, work.
Thank you so much. When you were saying great Nigerian youth, I was actually tempted to say great. It's taking me back to school days. But then it's very important at a time like this, just like you said, Nigerians are not confused. They know what they want and they will go for it, regardless of what confusion all of these politicians are doing back and forth. Because he was also picking up from the last quarter we had, and saying the fact that the governor of Kaduna should concentrate a lot of things, what he said, contradicting it and all of that. But I am here to say it's not about a party, because he has made, okay, we have another caller from Nasser. Good morning. Hello, Stephen. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Thank you. Please go on.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes. My name is Philip from Nasarawa State.
All right, Mr. Philip.
I want
Good
to
morning.
contribute on Nasiru El-Rufai issue. Nasiru El-Rufai have never been a good leader in his life. When he was a minister of federal capital, he converted most of people's plot to himself and their friends. And if you look at Kaduna State, in his reign, he destroyed every education, send workers out without giving them a penny. Thousands of workers. And Southern Kaduna have never had a break. Every week or every month, they must shed blood. He is just losing the Minister of Defense that Tinubu promised him. That is why he's talking now. Has he ever one day secured Kaduna State? He was the one that initiated the Muslim ticket, because he did it in Kaduna State and cornered his way into second tenure. Then, now he advised, thinking that he will be the one that Tinubu would take him, so that he should be his running mate. He loses. Now he's thinking that he will be the Minister of Defense if Tinubu is the president. He look at it that he's listening, because he has never one day been a good leader. Somebody that you respect very well, but he look down of human beings as if they are animals. Last December attack in Southern Kaduna, did we ever hear anything concerning that? Whoever talk about it? But ordinary Fulanis that they kill, the world is saying it. What have they done with the killings in Kagoro and in Kafanchan? Look, we cannot deceive ourselves. Why is he talking now? What have he not been talking? When the killings were taking place in Southern Kaduna, what did he have never even said a word. Look, we should not deceive ourselves. What God has said it will be, it will surely be. He is against Christians 100%. He wants this country to be in bloodshed. That is his mission. And they want to put crisis in this Nigeria so that the election will not hold. But God in heaven that we serve will never allow it to happen. Things that God has right in this Nigeria this year, it must surely come to pass. Whatsoever they are planning to destroy this country, because they have money to carry their children flight out abroad and leave the poor masses to die, that is why they want to inflate crisis, shedding of blood that they have never had. Since his life, since his childhood, he has never become a good person. No anywhere El-Rufai have gone, and you see he's behaving in a good manner. And he expects somebody to behave in a good manner for him. Do to yourself before people will do it to you. You don't do it to people. You only want people to do good thing to you. It's a bad time with our PVC. Why is he shouting? Why is he shouting? It is now that he's knowing that their government are dangerous. Buhari to be in the power. And Tinubu is bragging that he's the one that brings Buhari into power. Then who among them now that is bringing Buhari into power? Why are they fighting? Why is he talking? In the Nasarawa State Fulani issue, it started in Benue. How many people that died in Benue? Whoever talk about it? It is only Fulani that people will stand and be talking that 6 of them, all of them died. They closed down the family of that house in Benue. Whoever talk about it? And how many attacks in Benue only last year alone? Who has ever talked about it? But just because of these Fulani people that are shedding blood everywhere, and people have the mind are talking, thinking that they are innocent souls. Please, We should pray so that we should use our PVC. It is our time now. Not God will use his hand now to say we should go and vote. It is our mind, because God has given us the sense of reasoning to vote them out. If we dare venture and try them again, then we should have ourselves to blame, not God again. Thank
you so much. Thank you, Mr. Philip. You know, even though Mr. Philip was getting very personal and emotional about this whole thing, but then I know that every life matters. So whether you're a Fulani man, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, number one thing, first and foremost, you are a Nigerian and your life matters a lot. And so what we are seeing here together, Rachel, I believe, is that every life matters. And so if just one soul or one person is there, I expect that the whole government of the entire state should be up and about to check what is the cause of it. And above all, whatever the issue is, it's important that we don't just, pour our grievances and anger on the paper, on the calls, but make sure that on that 25th of February, you will be on that queue. Whether it's raining, whether there's sunshine, we'll all go out there, and pin our vote. It's not about the party right now, but it's about looking at the individuals. Do they matter? Do they have that character? Are they credible enough? Can I swear and see if I give this person my vote, he or she will do the right thing? So I believe that's it. All right, let me take this paper, this day newspaper. We have an editorial, interim government perish the thought, and I think this is something everyone would love to read, so you can read that on page 26 of this day newspaper. And in PC, we have 64.3 million liters of petrol released daily. I hope that we see all of that petrol in the various fuel stations. And we have Oluko Oshun has taught INEC to transmit accreditation and poll results simultaneously. We have on the APC PCC, Aso Rock Kabal wants payable successor to Buhari, and Atiku is saying Tinubu has history of appropriating public assets. You can read all of that on page 5. The big story on this day newspaper on Naira scarcity, Peter Obi calls for calm, appeals to Nigerians to bear with the federal government, and CBN urges Apex Bank to expedite circulation of the new currency. UBA, GMD, CBN banks addressing challenges associated with new Naira disbursement. Atiku alleges APC convincing with banks to hold new 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira. Police warn against lawlessness in Kwara as governor calls for calm. Man decries I take that story again. Man decries hiccups in implementation, says manufacturers will suffer 25% drop in sales. So you can read more of that on page 5. We have Reverend Thomas from Lagos. Good morning, Reverend. Hello, Reverend.
Good morning. I greet everybody in the studio.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the comment credited to the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. You see, he asking Nigerians to be calm. That is the word of a man who is prepared to lead Nigeria to the promised land. When you
we lost that call. I hope the Reverend will call us back. We really love to hear what he has to say. That's why we have in Yama, it's cheaper to keep foreign mission than close them. This, you can read more of that story coming from the foreign minister on page 9, and that's all on this day newspaper.
On Nigerian Tribune, Obolowo Dosumo Osita Obo join IGET Advisory Board. Scarcity of fuel, new Naira notes, election security on the alert. We have a writer that says politicians, groups under security watch, Portland borders to be monitored, and you can read that on page 25. And the big story is on currency swap. Reps may reconvene before elections if current hardship continues. Coming from the speaker says Tinubu stands with Nigeria. PDP wants CBN to monitor distribution, provide mobile banks in rural areas, accuses APC of mopping up new notes for polls. We won't join issue with PDP coming from the APC PCC. Banks not hoarding new Naira notes coming from bankers, and you can read all of that on page 3. Death toll in Kaduna killings rises to 84. Buhari condemns attacks. Don't plunge Nigerians into anarchy, Yakasai wants election riggers. Suspected herdsmen kill 6 farmers, traders in Ondo community. Fashola's account of Ladoja's impeachment saga false. Ex-Oyo Speaker Adeleke, and you can read that on page 23. At the downside of the paper, Tinubu versus Atiku not in focus. And then the writer says doubts over Tinubu's acceptance persist. G5 stiff with Atiku preventing timely decision. Tinubu has history of appropriating public assets, Atiku alleges, and you can read that on page 3. We have a picture story. Get the Nigerian Tribune if you want to know what it is all about, and that's all the news on Nigerian Tribune.
All right, let's take a look at Nigerian News Direct, where we have the Federal Road Safety Corps calls new Corps Marshal promote largest set. The Corps agor with nationwide jubilation. And on Naira scarcity, mob attack fear in banks as sale of Naira note proceeds. POS operators charge over 25%. Entrepreneurs count losses. CBN needs to address the scarcity coming from the CPPE. CBN to meet banks, telcos on POS withdrawal charges, and then bank media chief debug huddling indictment of banks. You can read more of that on page 4. GT Bank takes over still on Nigerian asset over 30 million naira debt. We have the Reverend calling back. Thank you so much, Reverend.
Yeah, you are blessed.
Thank you so much,
mentioned about the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. Is the comment credited to Obi is what we expected from all the presidential candidates. Obi is advising Nigerians, telling Nigerians to keep calm, that it will soon be over. I appreciate him. And I want to react on a statement credited to the president of Nigeria. You see, he said that Buhari under pressure. It should not be under pressure. The problem of the country, Nigeria, is that we are not always proactive. We always wait for situations to get to a point of no returns. You see, the president should not be under pressure for anything. He should be under pressure on how to hand over to the incoming administration. You see, it has been killed as a result of insurgency, as a result of insecurity in the country and Biafran civil war. You see, the president has failed, though there are some areas he performed a bit okay. You see, the president he borrowed from other countries, from a sudden billions government of the day has failed. Now consider in the urban cities. Now consider what an average village man, average village woman is passing through. You see, Nigeria has a large quantity of oil, and we have refineries that are not working. See, look at the amount of it. When you go to the bank will deny of having no money. You go to POS, they charge 1,000 naira as against 10,000. The government has failed. And I am calling upon, you see, APC and the PDP, they have failed us. May God give us